So we'll start by looking at the triangle side. Today we'll talk about finding the area of the two-dimensional shapes that we'll be using. And then later on this week, we'll put together the three-dimensional shapes. And then you'll have the ability to work with the formulas that we're working with, okay? So, we're starting with triangles. Who remembers how to find the area of a triangle? Noah?
You find the area, like the square that we got, and then find it.
Okay. You're on the right track. The formula is written up on the board. It is A equals 1/2 times base times height. 1/2 times base times height. Everybody write that down. It's the top of your triangle side of your paper. Now, everybody, this is the most important thing I will say today. So, pay attention now. Your base and your height are not always going to be B and H on the picture. Okay? Your base and your height will always be the perpendicular measurements. Okay? The perpendicular measurements. So what does perpendicular mean? What? No, not necessarily. What? It's a special type of intersection. What type of intersection, Noah? A right angle is formed. So your base and your height are two lines that form a right angle. So when I'm looking at number 1, which two letters form a right angle? Maya? H and A, right? Those two form the right angle. So here's what you're going to write. You're going to write on the line all of your work. I'm not going to just write in an answer. I'm going to write it all in there. So I'm going to go 1/2 times my base would be A. Sorry. So I need to write in what that number is. So I'm going to go 1/2. A is 4.6. So 1/2 times 4.6 times H, which is 7.8. So what do I get when I multiply those three? What'd you get? 17.94. Now my label is squared millimeters then. Right? Because we're talking about that's how many square millimeters I can put. I can put that many squares on this that are 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter to cover the entire triangle. Okay, so now what do I do for perimeter? Perimeter is measuring what? What? The outside. So on this particular one, what am I doing to find the perimeter? Somebody other than Noah want to help out here, ever? We'll wait. And then that just means you'll have more homework because we're not having as much time to get stuff done in class. Daniel? Add up A plus B plus H? Not necessarily. What? Right. H is the height of the whole thing. So that's we don't want H on the perimeter. So we're going to go A 4.6 plus B, which is 8.4, plus the other B, which is 8.4. We're measuring the distance around the outside. So what do I get when I add those all three together? What'd you get? 20.6? 20.6, and that is just millimeters now. Oops. Millimeters, not millimeters squared. Okay, what type of triangle is this? Look at that paper that I gave you with all the triangles on it. What type of triangle will we call this? Somebody else? What?
I said, well, I was talking, it's 21.2.
Oh, it would be nice if like everybody participated, then we would know. Jeez, thank you. So you said 21.4? 21.4 millimeters. All right, what type of triangle is this? Come on, people, the quicker we get through this, the more time you'll have to get this done in class and not have as much homework. So look at your paper. Look at the types of triangles. What type of triangle is this? What do you think, Bree? It is isosceles. Is there anything else we can call it? Because if I name it by both the angles and the sides, I'm being as specific as possible, correct? We'll call it an acute isosceles. Isosceles. All right, it's an acute isosceles triangle. So then, on your homework, when you're doing this at home, you can go in, find this in Google Classroom, and then scroll down to the bottom and check your answers. Once again, I'll be grading the work. I want to see what numbers you multiplied or added to get these. They just said isosceles triangle. I like you to be as specific as possible, but we got isosceles. That's good. All right, you guys try number 2. All right, what do we do to calculate the area on number 2? Maya? 1/2 times 7.4 times 6.4. Excellent. Because those two are the perpendicular measurements. And what do I get when I multiply those? 23.68 square centimeters. Is that correct, everybody? All right, what is the perimeter then? What do I do to find the perimeter? LJ? 7.4 plus 7.4 plus 7.4, or I could go 7.4 times 3, right? because all of the sides are the same, so I can just multiply it by 3. Either way works. What do I get? What'd you get? 22.2 centimeters. Is that correct, everybody?
Yes.
And what type of triangle is this? Yes? It is an equilateral or an acute equilateral triangle. Very good. Okay, now if we move on to number 3, notice it's a little different, isn't it? What's the base and the height on number 3? What's the base and the height? I don't know. B and A, right? Because those two form that right angle right there. Excellent. And then we've got the other shapes we will be dealing with. Will look like these. Okay, so flip it over. And number 1, what shape is this? Anybody know what this is? How many sides are there? Bailey? It's a hexagon. 6 sides is a hexagon. 5 sides would be a pentagon. 7 sides is a heptagon. 8 sides, octagon. 9 sides is a nonagon. 10 sides is a decagon. And then after that, we would just say, if it's 13 sides, we would just say 13-gon. Okay? So, we said this is a hexagon. And we want to find the area of a hexagon. So notice we got a hexagon, then next to it we've got a pentagon of 5 sides. We're going to do the same process on both of these. Here's what I do. I'm going to break this up into triangles. Now watch how I break it up into triangles. From my center point out to each vertice, I made a triangle, right? And that triangle has a base and a height, a perpendicular measurement, right? S and A are perpendicular to one another. So let's find the area of that triangle. It's 1/2 times 6.6 times A, which is 5.7158. I don't know why they give us these crazy numbers, but they did. So what do I get there when I multiply that? 1/2 times 6.6 times 5.7158. Leona. 18.86214. Okay, so now that is the area of one triangle. How many triangles can I get on this if I draw a line from my center point to each vertice? How many triangles do I get? What? 5 more, right? There'd be 6 total. So I would take this 18.86214 times 6, all 6 triangles. So what does that give me? 0.17. So we will just round it to 0.2. We're going to round all of these to the nearest 10th, our final answers to the nearest 10th. So write that down on your paper. Round your final answers to the nearest 10th. And that would be square inches, right? Is that correct, everybody? Is that the right area? Is that what you got? Okay, what do I do for perimeter then? What do I do for perimeter? What do you think, Bree? Right. Each side, S, is 6.6. So you could go 6.6 plus 6.6 plus 6.6 6 times, or you could take that 6.6 times 6, right? Because since we're adding the same number 6 times, you could just multiply it by 6. Either way. And what do you get? Amir, you get an answer there?
39.6.
39.6. Is that correct, everybody? And that would be inches. So 113 and 39. And let's go down here and check then. 113 and 39. You should be rounding to the nearest tenth. So their rounding looks like to the nearest hundredths, didn't they? But you can round to the nearest tenth. All right. You gets to try number 2. Number 3. If I am working with any parallelogram, it could be a rectangle, it could be a square, it could be a rhombus, okay? Parallelogram, we are going to use the formula A equals base times height. So it's not 1/2 anymore. Remember, we use half on a triangle because their triangles are half parallelograms. Okay, so base times height. Our base and our height still have to have that perpendicular relationship. So which two measurements are perpendicular on number 3? Else? H and C on this one. So we will go 5.5 times 8.7. And what do I get? 47.85. And that is square millimeters. So parallelogram should be a little bit easier, right? Perimeter. What's the perimeter on this? What do I do to find the perimeter on this one? Maya?
We do 5.87 plus 8.7.
5.87 plus 8.7, because that's A and C, right? But what about the other two sides? I got 2 sides, but I got 2 more. What?
You would do 8.7 plus 8.7 plus.
Right. Add another 5.87 and another 8.7. Or you could go 5.87 plus 8.7 times 2, right? Because you got 2 of each of those. Right, Janae? What do I get? What'd you get? 29.14. So let's go down here and look. 29.14, excellent. And we call that a parallelogram is what we would call that. So there's the answer for that one. All right. You need to finish these up. Remember, show the work. I'm going to be looking at the work, what numbers you added or what numbers you multiplied to get the final answer. Then you can come back here and check your final answers. These are in Google Classroom. So you can check your final answers to see if you did it right.